Josh and James H, we like to call him, will be presenting this morning. So Josh is the Director of Enterprise Accounts, and James Hymers is an account manager for Field Ops. So Field Ops is really a major part of AbaData strategy moving forward. It's a field collection tool where we actually develop a white label app for use, a custom developed app for your company. And it's really geared towards field operators who go and collect data from the field. So this is inspections, you take photos, it's all to keep track of everything that you're doing in the field. Instead of using paper and spreadsheets, the great thing about it is it works completely offline, so you don't need to be in cell signal. And all this data syncs, goes back to AbaData servers, and it's really kind of a linchpin for AbaData moving forward. It kind of ties that field back with the office. It's fully integrated into AbaData Maps. You may log into AbaData Maps. If you don't have the subscription to it in your company, you won't see it today. But if you do have the subscription, it has full integration. So you click on a well, and it'll show entire inspection history, pipelines, and you see the cleaning history for the pipelines. Now, I won't blab on too much about this, but we'll let these guys do most of the talking. So these guys both joined us in the past year. They gave many years of hands-on experience in the industry, with deep experience in the field. And Josh has a background in GIS, has been working with asset integrity and risk management for 20 years. And James is a professional geologist, and he was working as an environmental consultant in the energy industry for more than 10 years. And so they're both stand-up leaders with us in understanding about technology. They make a difference in day-to-day operations. We're thrilled to have them with us, and they each bring their own unique experiences and unique perspectives to the AbaData and to the Field Ops team. So I'll hand it over to these guys, but thanks everyone for coming.
Thanks. All right. Okay, can you guys hear me okay in the back? Is everybody's good? Yeah? Okay, awesome. There are a few more chairs up here on the left-hand side if anybody wants a seat that doesn't have one. Okay, so hi. Welcome again. Thanks for coming to our Field Ops session today. So what James and I are going to do is to attempt to kind of give you a brief overview of our Field Ops application. And the goal being is that we want you to kind of understand what the application does, how it was built, and then how it's being used in the field today. We're also kind of hoping to spark your interest in learning more if you're not already familiar with it, or maybe even trying it out as a trial sometime. So I'm going to spend a few minutes to start out on the first couple of bullets that you can see here. And then I'll turn things over to James to give you kind of a rundown of how Field Ops is being deployed out in the real world. And then to kind of bridge the two halves of the presentation that we're going to do, we'll actually go into the app, show you how it looks and feels, and then we'll go through some of the functionality back into the presentation after that. So many great technologies start with a simple question. Right? Field Ops began with this one. Can we get an alternative to using a pen and paper for our lease inspections? So today, I'm going to try to sort of take you on that journey from the spark of that idea to the platform that's reshaping how fieldwork happens across operations. So, a world without Field Ops. Well, it's hard to imagine for us, but we'll try. Before Field Ops, field teams face the same challenges every day, even to the point that we were talking about this morning in the keynote, people using paper forms in the field that get lost, inconsistent data, and limited access to base map type data when you're out in the field, and disconnected systems overall. So a technician could make 10 site visits in a day, and then still have to spend hours just uploading the notes when they get back to the office. So the office had all the data, the field had the reality, and the two rarely aligned. That gap between the assets in the field and the data collected for them and was central to the challenge that set off our next phase. So sometime in about 2006, 2007, during a training session in our Red Deer office with the team from Husky in their Tabor area, the concept of being able to enter and manage lease inspection into AbaData was raised. The thinking was that since all the wells were already in AbaData, why not use it for lease inspections too? The big win in doing this would be the elimination of pen and paper-based lease inspection forms. Additionally, it would provide the benefit of centralizing all of the data and provide additional context to the inspections by overlapping it with base map data layers that were already present in AbaData. So that question started everything. The idea was simple. Create a tool that lets the crews capture, edit, and sync operational data from the field into AbaData. So the first version was really simple, as you can see on the, I guess, your right-hand side of the screen here. It was built into our online-only original version of AbaData 1.0, which was accessible at the time only using Internet Explorer. It was really simple, so users would just come into the map, click on a well to open a table with a tab called Lease Inspections, and then you could see all of the previously completed inspections and then enter new inspections as they needed. So we built this initial version and tested from there. Each iteration and test gives more insight. We learned what the field users were needing most, which was flexibility, reliability, simplicity, and speed. So it wasn't pretty, but it was a start. Early versions sort of helped us uncover that users wanted additional functionality. So reporting on non-compliances, status reports, work orders, and tasking all were incorporated into the system. And over the next few years, we continued to kind of build out all of this functionality as a custom solution with Husky. The real world feedback was key to this continuous improvement that we were making as we iterated through early versions. We tested and improved, and each piece of feedback became a stepping stone in building a field-ready solution. So our team eventually realized that other companies would benefit from having access to a similar system to what we had developed with Husky. The main concern at this time, though, was that we only had a team of 2, Curtis and Jill at the time. So we couldn't possibly create a custom-built solution for every potential customer. So to address that capacity constraint that we had at the time, we built what we called the generic task management system, which in Curtis's words was a total flop. The main issue was that everybody wanted to ask different questions on every form rather than have a one-size-fits-all solution. So over the next few years, we kind of went back to what we knew and built out custom solutions for individual companies like Zargon, Trident, Trilogy, and most of our effort, though, during that time was still going into the Husky solution. We continued to build out functionality and workflows to support their field operations programs. Then, fast forward kind of up to 2020, we decided to develop our first mobile application in field ops. So everything up to that point was still done on the desktop. Again, this was with Husky. We called it Lease Spray, and it was used for managing their veg management program. So spraying companies were given access to the application, and the results were displayed in AbaData 2.0. This was a big step forward to a more robust mobile application, and we saw the potential in expanding to additional functionality and providing it to more customers from that point forward. So a few pretty big things happened in the next few months of 2020 and into early 2021. So in early 2020, Synovus had been running an RFP for a digital operations platform. They were evaluating all the commercial products that they knew of at the time, not us, unfortunately, because we weren't great at marketing at that point. And then in October 2020, Synovus announced that they were merging with Husky. So the RFP process was put on hold due to the merger, and then continued again until early 2021 when it was interrupted again by the pandemic. So after all the dust had settled from the merger, word spread to the Synovus selection committee that Husky had a tool, Field Ops, which had already been successfully incorporated into many operational workflows. The Synovus committee investigated and immediately recognized that Field Ops was better than any of the other commercial options that they had seen in the RFP, and decided to adopt Field Ops for the legacy Synovus areas. This led to the creation of the Synovus mobile application, and eventually to the expansion of the modules which you know and see in Field Ops today. So, carrying on through the evolution of the app, when Jason and Amit acquired AbaData in 2022, they quickly recognized that the potential of the Field Ops mobile app could be built out further and expand to our potential reach to more customers with a robust and industry-leading field operations solution. We introduced the concept of white labeling through Field Ops so that our customers could customize the app with their company-specific name, logo, and colors, in addition to having the flexibility to choose or develop the modules and inspection forms that they needed for their operations. We decided early on as well to build 2 parallel apps for both iOS and Android. This helped us ensure that the application functioned consistently and efficiently in both environments. Our main focuses were to create a system that provided spatially enabled field data collection using digital versions of whatever forms the operator was currently using. Keeping the forms flexible ensured adoption would be smooth in the field, as they were already familiar with the content and format from the paper versions. We also worked on developing a desktop application that could be run from the office and had additional admin functionality to manage inventory, inspections, and users, all accessible through Maps 3.0. Our initial goal to develop a solution that provided spatially enabled field data collection using digital versions of whatever forms the operator was currently using, and it was based in AbaData Base Map data, had now been achieved, and the app was ready for field deployment. From there, everything accelerated. We added mapping layers, dynamic forms, analytics, and dashboards. What had begun as a mobile app evolved into a full operational dashboard management solution. FieldOps wasn't just tracking, it was enabling decision-making, improving data consistency, completeness, quality, and increasing efficiency. Adoption spread fast. Within months, we saw that we deployed to multiple customers, both service providers as well as owner-operators, and we were seeing them using FieldOps daily. We saw maps come alive with thousands of data points updating across regions. FieldOps was quickly becoming the new standard to capture, record, share, and act on field data. One of the things that makes FieldOps really powerful is how it is connected with the rest of our ecosystem. GIS, asset management, analytics, risk assessment, integrity management, and reporting, all central to AbaData Maps 3.0. Suddenly, the field wasn't such a separate world. It was connected and part of one connected data flow, from the field to the office and back again. The results spoke for themselves. Our customers reported inspection times cut by up to 50%, cost per inspection reduced by 10%, error rates down dramatically, and better overall asset visibility across their teams. Leads and managers reported fewer backlogs, clearer lines of accountability, and most importantly, field staff were quick to adopt and promote the new technology because of it. FieldOps didn't just change the workflow, it changed the process. Crews were empowered to take ownership of their data. Teams were able to collaborate across more groups and locations with ease. Activity scheduling, completion, and tracking was improved greatly and enabled crews to lead and focus on high-impact activities and exceptions. Regulatory data was easily accessible, up-to-date, and easily pulled to reports. Since the initial version, FieldOps has continually hit major achievements, from company-wide adoptions, system integrations, to a continued expansion of core functionality. It has grown and built on this positive momentum. So what started as a pretty small idea and a question became a benchmark for modern field operations today. And it's still growing, because every success that we have continues to add to the legend. The story is far from over. The future will continue to be guided by our customers. Our users have always been the driving force behind our innovation plans, and we pride ourselves on having tech that is built from the field up. This ensures that we're meeting the needs of our users, providing valuable technology to the complex and ever-shifting world of energy infrastructure operations. The story of FieldOps isn't just about technology, it's about defining a smarter, more connected way. As I noted in the beginning of this presentation, many great technologies start with a simple question, and FieldOps was no different. From that simple starting point, can we get an alternative to using pen and paper for our lease inspections, to the current state and our road ahead, FieldOps is leading the way for mobile energy operations. Our team of remarkable and talented professionals, in combination with our amazing customers, have brought FieldOps to life. From Spark to system, tool to legend, FieldOps represents what happens when vision meets persistence. We built it for the field, we built it together, and the best part of our story is still ahead. So thanks for your attention. I'll now turn things over to James for the second half of this session. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone. So I'm gonna give you a bit of rundown of how this application is currently being used in the field today. We got a few examples here. I'm also going to start off with a demonstration of the application and just discuss how customizable it is. So like Josh mentioned, everything in this application is customizable, from the logo to the name of the application, to the colors that you want to use, to the forms. So you can have dynamic forms that are custom to you, and we can turn them out pretty quickly. So the way FieldOps is currently being deployed, a few examples are oil field operations and preventative maintenance programs, or PMs. Plant logs, so that could be for dehydrators, compressors, gas plants, chemical management or chemical optimization, which we'll talk about shortly. And then a few examples of how service companies are also utilizing the application, so cathodic protection and vegetation management. So now we're just gonna switch over and show you the application. Okay, so you see we just have our generic test application at the top, but this would be branded to you. So we're just gonna open that up. And we just start off with the status page, but we don't have much time, so we're just gonna show you what is applicable. So we're gonna go to the Manage tab first. And this is where you select your modules as well as your hierarchy. So you see we have a bunch of different options for modules that we can select. And then the hierarchy would be, if you're an energy producer, it would be your operator run. If you're a service provider, it could be the client that you're actually working for, but sky's the limit, super customizable. So that's the Manage tab. You can choose all that. But the real good stuff is the map. This works perfectly offline. So you see we're just in downtown Calgary right now. We're just gonna zoom out and go to an area with inspections. So I'll probably try over here. I know we got some overdue pig runs. This is all test data, by the way. But this application functions perfectly offline. So it's AbaData Maps on a mobile device. So you can click on any well, and you can pull up the information about that well. Same with pipelines, really any piece of infrastructure. You can open those up and see all the pertinent information on that piece of infrastructure. You can also open up your inspections. See, we got an overdue pig run here, and you could expand that. So you could see the schedule, the history. You could create an inspection through there. So this functions perfectly offline, and it's a super powerful tool. And then you also have the ability to go into map features, and you can turn your sat imagery on if you want, but you can also toggle through all the different layers that are available. And this is another thing that you can customize. So if there's a layer that's not default in FieldOps, but it's available in Maps 3.0, we can bring that in, and it'll function perfectly offline, which is fantastic. And we're going to talk about how you can actually get custom layers in there as well. So then we have the map legend, which is pretty standard, but you also have a search function, so you can search for any LSD and find it on the map, see the infrastructure around there, as well as navigate to it. So we're just going to get out of there. We're going to go to our list view. So we have a list view where we see it's sorted by distance, but you can change what it sorts by. But you get your list view. But now we're just going to have a bit of experience. Like, let's say I'm an operator, and today I just want to focus on getting my safety equipment inspections done. There's a lot of clutter in here. There's pigging, there's all sorts of stuff. So we're just going to filter that out to get rid of the clutter. So I'm just going to go to my gear wheel there. I'm going to deselect all the modules, and I'm going to select safety equipment. No, you don't have to save anything. You can just exit out of that. And then my list is now refined to just my safety equipment. So I want to get this fire extinguisher completed. So you can click on this in the list, and you can go to the inspection, but there's some cool functionality in here as well, where you can actually scroll over to the left, and you can navigate to it through your phone's default mapping software, so Google Maps or Apple Maps. But you can also locate it on the map really quickly. So I'm just going to do that, and you see instantly it shot me to my inspection point, and I'm going to click on that. There's multiple inventories here. Open it up, and I just found my fire extinguisher that I want to inspect. So I'm just going to click on that. I see my inspection history. I can go ahead and complete the inspection, so I'm going to create it. So I'm just going to start answering questions. I'm going to say everything is good. except the hose is damaged. So any follow-up required, like, yeah, we have to fix the hose. So I'm gonna say yes to that. You'll notice another question popped up. So that's an example of how these forms can be dynamic. So if you answer a question a certain way, it'll trigger a new question. So another example of this is if you're going out doing lease inspections like we started this whole thing with, sometimes the question is there a sign on lease? If you answer no, then you probably don't need to answer what condition is the sign in. So that's just one small example, but we do have this ability to have dynamic forms. So I'm just gonna say test, done. You can add additional comments. You can also upload photos. You can take photos or upload any file as well. You go ahead and save that. It triggers it again, hey, you're submitting a non-compliant inspection. Maybe can you fix the hose right now and not submit a non-compliant inspection? Or you just submit it and then that's flagged to the coordinators in the office. So gonna go ahead and say yes, the inspection is saved, fantastic. Gonna go back to my list. You notice that we have inventories at the top left, but then on the top right, we have unsynced. There's one there, so I'm gonna go there, and that's where my inspection lives because maybe I'm still out of self-service, so I don't wanna sync it yet. So you can still open that up before it's synced, and you can edit it and delete it, but if everything's good and you're back in service, you can just go ahead and sync that really quick, and then it's gonna be available instantly on the desktop for a coordinator to view. You can pull the records, and it syncs all the information together, as well as it downloads more information on your phone if there have been any updates. So that's a quick overview of the application. I think it's fantastic. I wish I had it when I was in the field. And if you guys want a more in-depth overview of it, please just reach out to us and we'll be happy to arrange that. So we'll just go back to the presentation now. Get Josh's phone back. So we'll just start going through some of the examples of how the application is currently being utilized. So oil field operations and preventative maintenance programs. So that could include pigging, safety equipment, Presco switch inspections, D55s, D13s, and sky's the limit, quite frankly. Like field ops can be adapted and customized for essentially any workflow and improve it, make it more efficient. So this is how it's currently being utilized. You get the added benefits of obviously not having to worry about loose paper, lost inspections, forgetting about things because everything is scheduled and organized on your device with status updates readily visible. But a good example of the status updates for this set of workflows would be for pigging, for example. So if you're going out to pig a line, you're going to go launch the pig. That pig, the symbol, like the color of that line, as you can kind of see on the left image there, is either going to be red for overdue or blue for pending. You can also customize the status colors if you're interested. But you go ahead and pig the line, you finish the first part of the form at least, and you save and sync it. That line is going to change from blue or red to yellow, which is pig in line. And then everybody in the field is going to be able to view that status, as well as the folks in the office that are coordinating things, and they're going to know that that line is currently being pigged. So they can adjust their activities accordingly to ensure safety around the pig barrel, or they just know that, things are happening here. So you just get those live status updates. And another real benefit of the application is, say, I was just doing my safety inspections, I'm done early, I finished my last fire extinguisher inspection, so I'm gonna change my filters and see everything that's going on around me. And it's like, oh, hey, I'm not quite done my day, and now there's 5 tanks nearby that I wasn't gonna get to until next week, but I might as well do my inspection on them now, and that just increases efficiency, decreases downtime, and saves money overall. So those are some examples for oil field operations and preventative maintenance programs. And now an exciting one is plant logs. So plant logs are traditionally paper-based forms that are passed from operator to operator at shift change. They have multiple days of inspections logged on one form, and they're essentially for dehydrates, compressors, and gas plants, where they take a bunch of different readings, often temperature, pressure, flow rates on these plants. So the added benefit is obvious with plant logs. You get away from paper forms. You don't have to manually enter all your data into a spreadsheet. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So that's great. But the real added benefit is what you're gonna do once you collect the data and how the app can assist with that. So, are we at 37 minutes, right? Okay, sorry guys. So we have trending built in, which is really cool. So any numerical value in field ops can be trended. So you just see that graph beside it. So you can click that blue graph and then the actual data set pops up and you can see how that value has fluctuated over time. And it might be able to act as an early warning system. So you could perform maintenance earlier and reduce downtime or potential downtime at least. So we can trend any value in there and it's more data at your fingertips. Another cool feature that we built in are hour calculations. So any consumable item on one of these units, they track the hours on it so they can replace it when it needs to be replaced. They're gonna track the hours on oil or filters and that kind of stuff. And it was always a manual calculation. But that's another thing that we've since automated with the use of our technology, and it's just one less thing that needs to be done manually, saves time, reduces any potential for miscalculations, and increases efficiency. So that's a nice one. Now we're going to talk about chemical optimization or management. And this is one that we're very proud of at AbaData. So essentially, chemical optimization works by calculating monthly averages. Our clients are able to manage their chemical orders, their chemical order history, and retain it all within AbaData. They can manage their fill intervals and product costs. And with doing all of this, they're able to really optimize their chemical use and not overuse, not underuse, never really run out. Which helps obviously improve efficiency in the field, reduce downtime, but a real feather in the cap is that one client of ours has actually reported millions of dollars in chemical savings using this module, and that's something we're very proud of, and that's what field ops and AbaData as a whole is all about. So that's chemical management. Now we're going to talk about more of the service-related activities that are being managed within field ops. So the first is cathodic protection, or CP. So CP companies are using field ops to store thousands, if not tens of thousands of their data points within field ops. You can see that you have live status updates. So they're able to quickly navigate to their different points. They're able to record everything, so everything is stored in our central secure database. And they're able to plan their routes accordingly. So those are just some great functionality that field ops has been able to help with. And both the folks in the field and the supervisors in the office have full visibility onto the activities going on. And then we're going to quickly talk about something slightly related. They're somewhat similar, it's just vegetation management. And you've probably heard about that quite a bit in the previous, well, even Josh talked about how we're using veg management, but veg management companies are really utilizing field ops in a cool way, and they're putting a lot of custom layers in there, which I really appreciate. So the cool thing with veg management is you have both the contractors and the lease owners utilizing vegetation management. So they both have like real-time status updates about their vegetation management programs and what's going on, when is the site being sprayed. Both sides can pull reports automatically. So that's fantastic. And they can also optimize their routes like cathodic protection or any other company using field ops. But the things that they're doing I really like, because they're putting custom layers into their map, at least some of them are. So they're putting in their water fill-up stations, which they just have one source. They don't have to go from Google Maps back to this map. They just have one map. So they got their water fill-up stations, ATV unloading sites that are pre-planned, highway shops, gas stations, and a few other things that aren't quite coming to mind right now. So they're really utilizing the map to its full potential, and it really helps them stay more efficient in the field there. Some other cool things that they're doing with it is one company in particular is doing their timesheets in field ops. So it's just one set of software that they don't have to purchase again, and it's just kind of turning AbaData and field ops into a one-stop shop solution, which is really cool. The other one thing I really wanted to mention is down there at the bottom left, you see that we have a site survey. So depending on the site, clients will give us their shape files for their lease boundaries to upload into field ops. so that both operators and third-party vendors can make sure that they're staying within the lease boundaries. And this is particularly important for sites that are minimally disturbed. So this just, helps avoid any trespassing issues and probably saves on chemical use as well to make sure you're not spraying out of boundaries. So that's a really cool feature built in. And one thing that we really wanted to mention is that we're constantly working to improve all of our software. And one thing that we're working on is having the ability to bring in a weather radar, a live weather radar map into our map, so that say if you're spraying in this section and you see a storm cell coming that way, it's like, we gotta plan. We're gonna get rained out, so you can adjust your day. You can adjust the sites you're going to. Go to sites where the weather isn't terrible, and keep on working. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit, but I think it's pretty obvious why that would be a huge benefit. But this is all great. We're digitizing all of this data. It's all stored in a secure database, but what are we gonna do with it? So that's where our powerful reporting ability comes into play. So you guys are all at the AbaData user conference. You probably all know that we have the ability to pull a ton of reports and customize those reports, and it's the same with FieldOps. So we are happy to custom build report templates for you. So you see we got a cathodic reading report and a veg management report. So we can customize, put your logo on there, put the colors on there, have the layout exactly how you want it, have signature boxes and photo attachments, however you would like. But you also have the ability to build your own custom reports, like most other aspect of AbaData. But then we also have the ability to subscribe to reports. So a good example there is, say I'm a veg management company, and every Monday morning, I pull the same report. What sites did I spray for this client and how many hours were billed for that work? And that's a report you pull every Monday. Well, now you just have to build that report once and you can subscribe to it. So at a frequency that you decide on, a day and time, that report will be emailed to you and be sitting in your inbox. And that's how you would subscribe to those reports. So that's about all we have for this presentation. The floor is now open for questions, and thank you very much for your time and coming.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah. We have a mic. Do you think we need the mic in here? I guess let's give it a try.
Do you guys have any customers that want to mention your secure database lot? So you're collecting all this information for people that they're required to retain for different periods of time. Do you guys have any customers that want that in their own domain, or do you do that kind of thing, or do you have something set up so if somebody decides not to use it in 3 years, they get to retain that data?
For sure. All of that data is the client data. So we do store it. It is secure. It is backed up. It's in a cloud-based system that we use. And then depending on the needs on the IT requirements of whoever the client is that we're working with, we can provide a regular dump of those files. We can do it on a demand basis. If they decide to go a different direction, that data belongs to them. And we would easily sort of port it over or export it into a format that they can use. Yeah, so yeah, it does come up. That's a great question. Data security, IT is always a top concern, especially the bigger the company you get to, the more it becomes a concern. But we've been able to successfully navigate that for many years and never had an issue, so. Yeah, in the back.
Do you have the ability to add pictures in real time or say safety documentation that is in the report that's sent?
Yeah, absolutely. We can show that real quick. Sure, yeah. It was in, we did it, I know we were only in the app really briefly. We didn't want to spend too long clicking around in there because it's seasick. But if you notice, I'll just get this back up. So a couple things here. So when James was showing how we wanted to create an inspection, so I'll just go into that. At the very bottom, it gives you a number of options here. So you can either take a picture right where you're at with whatever device you're on your phone or tablet. You can also pull one in from your photo library or pull in files. So if you did have a PDF report, instructions, that kind of thing, that would work there. So it's no problem at all. To do that, I was actually going to move my camera. So if I click on this, it'll actually launch an I take a picture, I can use the photo, it'll add it in there. It gives us this crazy file name, so you can go in there and change it to test, hit save, and then you've got that photo there available. And that retains as part of the history of that inspection at that point in time. So if you do a photo every day, you would have a photo for every day inspection going forward. All users would be able to access those.
And would it show up in the report? And
Yeah.
it would, and then would you label the file name, or is the file name kind of like the title?
So
Or is that-
when you pull the photo into the report, can you rename the photo, or does it pull the file name? That's a good question. I don't actually know.
It pulls the file name.
Pulls the file name.
It would show this test in the report.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some flexibility there, though. If you had specific requirements, I'm sure we'd be able to figure it out. Yeah. Sure.
I'm just curious what this looks like on the desktop side, if you're, maybe you're managing or seeing the information, or maybe even you're uploading a lot of information directly from your downloads or whatever to a GeoPoint and not using the mobile app.
Yeah, so everything that the mobile app collects in the field and syncs back to the database then is available in the desktop. And then the mobile app is, we kind of configure what you can access from that historical data. You can pull in a lot of that historical data, all of that base map data, or less depending on your needs. So I think the way I kind of think about it is from the desktop side of things is kind of, you can access everything. It's sort of the full system, all the data. The mobility app is a constrained set of that based on what requirements you have. So you have access to everything, but you don't want access to everything just because it creates a lot of memory issues on the phone and stuff.
And yeah, just through AbaData.ca, you'll just click on your profile button and you'll pull up field ops and you'll have access to the dashboard. You can manage your inspections and just manage your inventory itself. And manage your hierarchies every day. So this is just a bit of an example of what the dashboard would look like with all the different available modules up top. A report that you could follow, different analytics that they can also view, plus many, many more.
Does that answer the question? I don't know.
Can you like go in there and amend and the inspection, or like, say you got your inspection report, but the person who did the inspection didn't upload the document. Can you go ahead and do it from your desktop?
Oh yeah,
as well?
you can edit.
Yeah, so and everything in there. As long as, like, if you're on a static site location, you might tend more to use this application from a PC. Where you're at, that's great for the field, I see that.
Yeah.
Just speaking to on the management side.
Absolutely, yeah. The desktop version of FieldOps gives you that full kind of admin, so you can not only go into all the inspections that have been completed and then open them and edit them if you need to. You can view them, you can report on them, and then you can also manage the inventory. So if you've got all your tanks are in there, all your CP locations, and you're managing those specific locations, a name changed, or you want to tie a new operator name to one of those, you can do all of that in function of the desktop.
And you can manage permissions as well. So if you have a new staff that's still on probation that you might not want to give the keys to, you can toggle all that on.
Great question right up front.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious on the functionality of the mobile app, what that looks like going forward, and kind of what it is here.
Yeah. So the question was just how we're going to integrate FieldOps and I guess AbaData as a whole with Hoodoo as our new new technology that we've taken on. Yeah, so we're working through that right now. We're having a series of meetings and design sessions to kind of look at what does Hoodoo do, what do we do, where are the gaps, where's the overlap, what's do we want better. And the idea is to merge as much of that, sort of take the best of both worlds into the technology going forward. So I don't have a ton of perfect, very specific examples, but we're really looking at that from the FieldOps specifically, as well as the triage and the Hoodoo risk module. Those are kind of the two areas that we're really working through how to best combine those to keep the best pieces and move forward. Yeah,
That's one question.
yeah, for sure.
Has anyone spoke to you guys about using the field ops for like your DP6 kind of notification and management on the front end of your acquisition on the website?
Yeah.
I don't think you're doing a lot of D55s.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with what a D56
It's
is.
just basically managing the radar notifications, conservations, things like that, required
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, if it's a similar process to what we're doing on the D55s, then we could the requirements are similar, I'm sure we can build something.
Yeah, no, we get really excited to be able to customize it for things that people haven't asked for yet. Because it's like kind of the base is there, and we can just, have sessions and think about how we can make it really optimized for any.
Yeah, a good example of that, we just had a company come on, a client, and they had a brand new gas plant, and they had a whole lot of equipment and forms and HMI fields that they wanted to sort of drive, do like twice a day inspections of, and we built these really interesting homes with, covering some areas that we never done before, trending on some data that we never touched before, so we're pretty flexible in terms of what we have. Yeah.
When you have a task set to a specific well site, if I were to go into AbaData as admin and shut in that site, put it out of service, does it then shut down that task, or do I have to go in separate and then shut down that task separately?
You would have to inactivate the inventory in the management section of field ops. And that's actually a really good idea that if you were just managing it, you want to shut the well in just through maps, that would toggle off any inspection. So it does connect, because you can find all your, you can open up that well and see every inspection associated with it, as well as pipelines and stuff, so.
But yeah, you're right. The first step though right now would be to use the desktop and uncheck that box. That would be good. Yeah, question.
Just the ability to do a live GPS track where you're in the field, you can see where you're standing, for sure, and all that.
Yeah, exactly. If you noticed when James first opened the app, it defaulted to here. And so it uses the GPS native to the mobile device that you're using, locates you, and then that list that James was showing of all the equipment was actually sorted in order of distance. So the closest equipment was at the top of the list, was like 165K or something like that. And then it went all the way down from there. So it knows where you are, and you can sort what's around you to be at the top of your list, so it's easier to find stuff. Yeah.
You mentioned working offline, restoring the information, haven't saved yet in browser cache.
No, it's stored on the mobile device's memory. Yeah, so you're and it's actually a mobile app, so you're not using a browser at all when you're on your mobile device. So
What happens when that queue fills up? You start dumping stuff off the back end?
if you fill your memory up on your phone, I don't know that. I haven't actually come across
Some
that.
folks have done
It's pretty
hundreds
small.
and hundreds of inspections with photos and still have a successful sync, and if for whatever reason there's an unsuccessful sync, there's a way that we can export raw data to us, and we can go through it and find it. And we have a bunch of depths in the back there that I could probably answer a lot better.
Yeah, I was just asking, because you want to take pictures and leave those in the app, release it.
It's kind of stored, it should be stored in the memory of the device, or the hard drive of the device itself, not in cache. It's not in cache, because it's not using the browser, it's using its own. I don't know if you mentioned this, but it is a custom app for both iOS and Android. It's not like a web app that you can open up or fold. It's a custom app with this unique functionality.
So you've got an iPhone, 1 terabyte.
You're golden.
Yeah, go crazy.
Yeah.
Are you guys integrating workflow into this at some point?
It's in there, so you can have if you notice in the top corner, there's a little track button with an antenna. So if you turn that on, and then you can set the frequency of how often it pings, and that solves sort of workflow. So it'll automatically send a signal back to the server that the admins can monitor from the desktop and find those users out in the field.
We don't have it really ironed out for that, but
Yeah.
we're really working on that because we have requests from values.
And we do have push notifications as well for those people too. So from the admin, so if you had a weather alert or some sort of issue, fire, whatever, you could broadcast those out to all your users or to a select group of users from the desktop as well, and just say, hey, take shelter, or hey, free lunch, get over to the plant, or whatever. There was one question in the back here first, and then over here still.
Just wondering if you had a microphone so we can hear
Oh yeah, totally.
people asking the questions.
Oh, that's loud, yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
So I have like a two-part question, I guess. Well, three. I guess the first one would be you made reference to like a PM system. So I'm kind of curious, has anyone asked, or have you already started the process of having like a work order type system so you can track like maintenance items? And then the second part of that question would be, if you're in the process of having those, is all your data siloed? So like, I know we use you for the MOC process in AbaData. Is there a way that you could kick off, halfway through a work order, kick off an MOC process without having to go and start a new process? Could they be integrated together? And then I guess the third part would be, how are you going to integrate OpLinks with AbaData going forward?
Yeah, okay, so to start at the beginning, the ability to work between sort of a work order or a work management system, that sort of integrates our tool called EM, or Equipment Manager, which we have another session on this afternoon. And there is connectivity in between field ops and equipment management. So that is where you would go and you would set up some of those sort of regular maintenance activities in equipment management, as well as the equipment that you're managing in there. So all your pressure vessels essentially when you're in there. You can set up tasks in there, and there is sort of connectivity between that and the field ops world. So we do have a number of clients, James had a couple, sort of pretty significantly, that are managing essentially their pressure vessel inspection programs using a combination of EM and field ops in the field today. So it's definitely a bit of more complicated kind of implementation for that, but it is possible, and we do have clients using that.
Do you have to log out of one and into the other, utilize that process though? Or do they?
Between EM and field ops? Do you have to log in and out?
For them to talk to each other.
No, yeah. Yeah, it's still like they're not perfectly, they will be, like that's part of the roadmap is to kind of bring that connectivity between equipment management and field ops a little closer. But it is working right now. We do have clients that are managing those programs out there. So those are the first two, I think. And then
third one is just what's the roadmap look like for integrating OpLinks with AbaData moving forward?
Yeah, it's definitely on the plan. We have a number of clients that have made the move already to field ops from OpLinks, and then we have a lot of clients that are continuing to use OpLinks. We're continuing to develop and build out new functionality in OpLinks to keep it kind of apace. In terms of bringing them both together completely at this point, no real set plan or timeline for that.
Does the data just go across, and if you chose to go to field ops, could you pull the data out of OpLinks and
For sure.
manufacture?
Oh, yeah. And actually, we're working on a project right now to have the two databases talk to each other. So if a client did want to switch over to a different software suite, then all that data would automatically go there, and most of the forms would be able to automatically get transferred over as well. So
it's a work in progress, I guess, on that side of things.
Yeah, awesome, thank you.
sorry, I think I fumbled the microphone, so whoever wants to ask the next question, I can give it to you.
I don't need the microphone, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. That kind of puts me on the spot. My question is, being that you are taking pictures and potentially video, is there any development work in having an AI interface where you can capture data, where you can take a picture of a pressure gauge, where you can utilize the internal sensors in the phone for vibration analysis, or any of those pieces? Like, have you done that, or are you working towards that?
That's really cool with the vibrations. I don't think we've gone that far yet, but with some like photo recognition, we have looked into specifically for charts. And I think that's on the OpLink side as well as the field op side, where you get those circular charts. I don't know what they're called. I was an environmental consultant, but they had it so you could take a photo of that and they would analyze what was going on and shoot out the results, kind of thing. So we are working on that. We're doing a lot of really cool stuff here with all these smart folks in the back.
I'm thinking too, where the operator shows up to a pump jack and he looks at it and says, "Oh, that looks great." If you took a video and it could analyze,
Oh yeah.
what's going on, then you could quantitatively
Yeah.
apply help.
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. It's definitely worth thinking about. Yeah, exploring.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Just, you guys mentioned E13, can you kind of, is it just the inspection form, or is there some sort of risk calculation that it does as well, or do you
Yeah, it doesn't, it's just the inspection form, like the added benefit of using AbaData is we have the government data, so we know what sites for what client need D13 inspections that year, so we can automate that. But no smart calculations into the risk. We would just take the risk that's provided by the ADR, I believe, and go from there. Yeah.
So just follow, is there any integration with the work management system like Maximo or anything like that?
There is on a case-by-case basis, for sure. We write a lot of APIs to share data back and forth. Maximo, I'm not sure, but yeah, I can't answer that.
Yeah, often what we've done is included Maximo kind of GUIs or IDs that can tie back to that Maximo system. From a purely programmatic integration, I don't know, that's a good question.
We've-
Have to take that.
We've done integration in like CloudView and CloudMan, so that if you want to get production reading in field ops or hotlines, like it would go over the production software there. All right, well, I think we're at time, guys.
Yeah, just more questions. Thank you.